In the previous episode, we saw the different methods of on-the-job training, the training given to freshers and specialized training programs for upskilling the soft skills and behavioral skills in the employees. In today's episode, we will have a grasp of the off-the-job training methods. In the recent years, formal training and management development programs have become very popular due to the limitations of on-the-job training. We saw under the on-the-job training that the seniors and the trainees were not away from the work, so they had the pressure upon them, and this reduced the effectiveness of training. On-the-job training does not provide adequate expertise, environment and facilities. Secondly, on-the-job training is inadequate for developing improved behavioral patterns in managers. Thirdly, highly sophisticated tasks and techniques of management development are available now. Training has become a specialized job. And fourthly, effective training requires a great deal of participation and group discussion among participants from diverse disciplines and culture. This is not always possible in the case of on-the-job training. Fifthly, behavior modification of trainees require a simulated and highly maneuvered atmosphere not found in on-the-job training. In on-the-job training, trainees are under the pressure and inhibitions of daily work routine. Off-the-job training provides an uninhibited and relaxed environment. The main drawback in off-the-job training is the artificial work environment, which requires adjustment to the actual work situation after the training. A few popular off-the-job methods are selected readings. Many organizations maintain their own libraries for this purpose. Moreover, executives may become members of professional associations to keep abreast of latest developments in management. Management process has become complex, and on-the-job training alone cannot provide the required skills and knowledge. A modern executive cannot depend upon others to inform him of the latest developments in knowledge. He has to read literature as a part of his daily routine. Conferences and seminars. In a conference, participants are required to pool their ideas, viewpoints and suggestions. The participants are normally drawn from different companies and sectors. Sometimes, a conference is divided into small groups. These groups discuss thoroughly the problems of common interest and report their recommendations to the conference. A conference provides a common platform for intensive group discussion and allows the participants to look at the problem from different perspectives and angles. The participants may prepare and present papers which are discussed in the conference. This method helps to reduce the dogmatism and promote an attitude responsive to change. It is ideal for analyzing problems from a third-party perspective. But the process of learning is very slow, and only a few persons can participate actively in the conference. The deliberations may degenerate into academic discussions, and participants may feel uninterested. Special courses and lectures. Special courses are designed by the company itself or by management schools. Companies sponsor their executives to attend these courses. These courses usually take the form of a management development program. The participants are given classroom instructions through lectures and audio-visual aids. They are imparted concepts, principles and techniques in various areas of management like general management, finance, accounts, marketing, production, etc. Well-known companies have set up their own institutes for training executives. All India Management Association, Administrative Staff College of India, Management Development Institute, National Productivity Council and Institutes of Management also organize executive development programs. This is a good method for providing factual information and knowledge quickly to a large number of executives. Trainees are in a better mental state to learn and assimilate knowledge as they are away from the pressure of daily work routine. They get a theoretical foundation for sound management and learn the latest developments. They also come into contact with their counterparts from other organizations where they are able to discuss and deliberate the organization-related problems and come to a solid conclusion. This method, however, suffers from the following limitations. The trainees are often passive and not active. There is no feedback from the trainees. An inexperienced instructor may not make a clear and complete presentation of the subject matter. Lecturing stresses upon the routine memorization of facts rather than the practical aspects of the job. Despite these facts, lecture method is a simple and efficient technique of introducing subject matter. Case study method. The case study method of executive development was developed at the Harvard Business School, USA. It was developed as a supplement to the lecture method. There is no dynamic participation of the learner in the lecture method. Case study method is designed to overcome this limitation of the lecture method. A case is typically a record of an actual business issue which was faced by business executives together with surrounding facts, opinions and prejudices upon which executive decision had to depend. The case is presented to the trainees for discussion and analysis. The trainees are expected to identify and diagnose the problem involved, generate alternative courses of action, analyze the pros and cons of each alternative and arrive at a recommendation which the management should adopt under the given circumstances. The trainees carefully study and actively participate in a large number of cases during the training period. They learn to sort out facts from opinions, to distinguish significant from trivial data, the judge the interrelationship and make a choice. Case study method improves the power of observation and analysis. It stimulates thinking and creativity. It is useful for developing problem solving and decision making skills among executives. However, case method is not very effective in changing the attitudes and behavior of people. It is difficult to apply the lesson of a case study to future problems because two business situations are seldom alike. A variation of the case study is the incident process in which an event is presented and the participants have to gather details by asking questions from the leader. But this method is subject to the same merits and drawbacks as the case method. Programmed instruction. It is a technique of instruction without the intervention of a human instructor. It is a learner-centered method wherein the subject matter is presented to the trainees in small steps and they are asked to make frequent responses. They are given feedback on their responses. The information is broken into meaningful units and rearranged into a proper sequence so as to form a learning package. Manuals, electronic teaching machines and computer systems are used in this method. It's a useful method for building knowledge and for retention of that knowledge. Brainstorming. Under this method, a problem is put before a group of trainees and they are encouraged to offer ideas or suggestions. Criticism of any idea is not allowed so as to reduce inhibiting forces. Each trainee is allowed maximum possible participation. Later on, all the ideas are critically examined. The purpose is to maximize innovation and creativity on the part of executives. In-basket exercise. The in-basket exercise contains a lot of correspondence of which poses a problem. The problems are of different kinds and resemble real-life problems. The trainees study memos, letters, reports and other documents in the basket. They are required to solve each problem and to record their decisions within a specified time period. The participants learn logical thinking, interrelationship between problems and decision-making skills. The problems do not contain all the details and leave areas of uncertainty similar to that encountered in actual business situations. The specified time limit imposes a time constraint simulating reality. This is an inexpensive method and can be used easily. The alertness of the trainee is also tested. This is usually used as an assessment center exercise for potential appraisal. Role playing. Under this method, 2 or more trainees spontaneously act out or play a role in an artificially created situation. They act out the given roles as they would be playing in real life situation. They are informed of the situation and the roles they are expected to play. For example, a trainee may play the role of a trade union leader and another trainee of a personnel manager. Each debates the issue from his own role viewpoint with the common objective of reaching the best solution and reaching a win-win situation. The advantages of this method are: the trainees realize the relevance and role of their functions as well as the organizational conflicts. They face a good simulation of real situation without being obsessed by their career interests or other prejudices. They get an insight into behavioral patterns and human relationships and become willing to modify their behavior style. They learn to live with and work in situations of conflicts. Human interactions lead to logical behavior and right attitudes on the part of trainees. But this method may involve waste of time in the absence of a competent leader. Moreover, the trainees become conscious of artificial situation or drama. Therefore, their responses may not be natural or logical to the situation. The role players may lose seriousness and commitment. Management games. Under this method, an actual business situation is presented as a model. The participants compete with each other to analyze the problem and take decisions. Their decisions are processed in stages. A performance report is prepared periodically to measure the success of the participants. This method is useful in developing the ability of taking decisions with incomplete data and amid conditions of uncertainty. It improves power of anticipation and prediction of the competitors' actions. But it is an expensive and time-consuming process. It is difficult to simulate the exact real-life situations. Use of statistical sampling and other mathematical techniques may involve bias and may create complexity. Sensitivity training or T-group training. Under this method, a small group T group meets in an unstructured situation. There is no plan or schedule and no agenda or other inhibitions. The members of the group are allowed to communicate with each other freely so that each can gain an insight of his behavior as others see it. The trainees are encouraged to probe their feelings and abilities in building interpersonal relationships. The purpose is to build self-awareness, understanding of group processes, and insight into interpersonal relationships. Frank and candid discussions encourage interpersonal sensitivity. The participants learn to see the unintended consequences of their behavior. Sensitivity training is a method of modifying behavior. It is a controversial method. Some people criticize it as unethical and dangerous. The success of T group depends on how psychologically safe the trainees feel when exposed to feelings. The outcomes of the method are unpredictable. The trainees may not actually change their behavior when placed on their jobs. The process of sensitivity training consists of the following steps. A small group consisting of 10 to 12 persons is constituted. A professional expert serves as catalyst and trainer. The group meets without any formal agenda. The members are encouraged to focus on interpersonal behavior. The trainer provides feedback to members on how they interacted with one another. Sensitivity training offers the following advantages. Trainees are likely to become more open and understanding. By gaining insight into his own and others' feelings, a trainee becomes less biased and tolerant of others' views. Trainees develop understanding of group processes. Leadership and communication skills are created. Sensitivity training suffers from the following drawbacks. Frustration may arise among the trainees due to lack of clear and criticism of ideas. Psychological damage may be caused to trainees who dislike humiliation, anxiety and other emotional problems may arise. There may be unjustified invasion of privacy of the trainees. In the absence of systematic follow-up actions, casualties may go unnoticed. An extension of the training program is leadership development. It refers to activities that improve the skills, abilities and confidence of leaders. Coaching and mentoring are two forms of development often used to guide and develop leaders. According to Baldwin and Ford, the success of leadership development is influenced heavily by the quality of the program, level of support and acceptance from superiors, and the characteristics or learning style of the person being developed. Leadership development is a common process in succession planning which aims to produce high caliber leaders to take over senior positions when they become vacant. High performers are typically identified for these leadership development programs, which may be for a longer term and broader than programs focusing on tighter end goals. The new age HR leadership is not only expected to manage human resources but also become business partners and play a crucial role in the organization's growth. They need to have an exceptional combination of conceptual thinking and execution to develop the required level of capability. A capability matrix with these two parameters can help in classifying 4 types of human resource leaders. Runners. While low on conceptual thinking, runners are high on their ability to execute. With a defined plan, they can manage the available resources and the organizational constraints to align the team and various stakeholders. They are mostly an asset to the organization but also have a tendency of getting stuck in the routine as they fail to come up with new HR strategies themselves. They are more focused on the functional goals set by the leadership and not necessarily on the overall organizational outcomes. While they have excellent manpower management skills, they emphasize more on efficiency and control than encouraging innovation in team members. They must be encouraged to attend external forums to understand how good HR initiatives can support the needs of the organization. Runners must be promoted to leadership positions carefully, as the organization might lose a good HR manager who executed well and end up having a leader without a vision. Blockers. They are low on conceptual thinking as well as execution, as their focus is usually inwards. They have a poor understanding of organizational dynamics and put compliance before innovation. They are weak team leaders who demotivate the team by talking more about risks and challenges than opportunities. Dreamers. While low on execution, they are high on conceptual thinking. Dreamers are in touch with current trends and are vocal about their ideas. However, they are unable to build a business case for the adoption of new HR initiatives and cannot connect their ideas with the existing issues at the workplace. They tend to get disillusioned in a couple of years when only a few of their ideas are implemented. They are respected as a leader but not seen as someone who can get the work done. Hence, over a period of time, the sense of disillusionment extends to their team as well. They need to build on their influence and ability to implement, and when not supported by a team that can execute, the leader may be seen as someone who only talks without any actions. Transformers. They are high on conceptual thinking as well as execution. Transformers have the ability to create a business case for new initiatives and get the buy-in from the team as well as different stakeholders. They bring relevant changes in the organization by creating healthy partnerships with their teams and other stakeholders by taking their suggestions and incorporating their ideas. They have a long-term plan for the HR function and always have the organizational goals in mind. Transformers have all the HR skills and competencies and should be given appropriate level of responsibilities to keep them motivated and leverage on their expertise. Maximum impact can be created by HR leaders only when their thinking and execution skills are in tune. Effective mentoring in the early years can help HR professionals develop both and move into leadership roles organically. Organizational leaders must be aware of these 4 types of human resource professionals and choose their HR leaders wisely with substantial evidence of both the qualities and then support them in their initiatives to make the HR function a valuable asset to the organization. Let us look into a few examples of how leaders are made in today's corporate world. In the Tata Group, which is one of the 5 top leadership firms in Asia, emphasizes on in-house leadership development programs. It conducts Tata Leadership Seminars and Group Strategic Leadership Seminar for the MDs, CEOs and COOs and those with potential to assume such roles in the immediate or near future. Tata Group Executive Leadership Seminar is conducted for senior management professionals and functional heads. Tata Group Emerging Leaders Seminar is for high potential emerging leaders from the middle levels of management, ideally in the age group of 30 to 40 years. In the McDonald's MCD mentoring, every learner is assigned a coach at every step of development to develop the employee skills, build their confidence and competence, career guidance for crew and managers, and succession planning. McDonald's has a McDonald's Leadership Institute in place which develops critical leadership skills needed to address both long and short-term business challenges. Individual development plans mapped out for leadership training in support of one's performance and career goals. It organizes accelerated leadership development programs for high potential directors and officers. Restaurant Leadership Training Program is organized for restaurant general managers. 5-day program from Hamburger University for career guidance of the crew and the managers. To apply leadership behaviors, lead the restaurant and develop their department managers, specialized leadership seminars are conducted. Infosys has started an Infosys Leadership Institute to nurture the leaders and advance the field of leadership development. Infosys Leadership Institute works towards ensuring that Infosys has appropriate leaders to take on senior leadership positions as and when they arise. It ensures that Infosys has a pool of successful and ready leaders to build tomorrow's enterprise. The areas of focus in the institute includes strategic leadership, change or adversity leadership, operational leadership, talent leadership, relationship or networking leadership, content leadership, and entrepreneurial leadership. Starbucks has its own leadership lab to impart leadership training with a problem-solving framework. Demonstrations of new product, blend development, and customer service is imparted. But what makes a leadership lab different from a typical corporate trade show is the production surrounding all of this. The lights, the music, and the dramatic big screens all help Starbucks marinate its store managers in its brand and culture. It's theatre, a concept that Starbucks itself is built. Few best companies for grooming leaders that have been identified are IBM. The New York headquartered technology company sends SWAT teams to coach their local staff. General Mills. It's a Fortune 500 company primarily dealing with food products such as Pillsbury. Over 90% of the management promotions are internal. Procter & Gamble, in which every chief executive at Procter & Gamble started at the entry level in the company. Aditya Birla Group. It operates in over 33 countries and honors its employees who teach skills to villagers. Colgate-Palmolive. It has a 7-day Colgate Leadership Challenge in which junior employees work on a team business project and are taken through presentations by senior leaders and do charity work. Hindustan Unilever. It sends young managers to live in Indian villages so that they can understand the needs of rural consumers. ICICI Bank. It assigns talent scouts to identify promising employees. McDonald's. It has an officer development program to train talent in finance, human resources and marketing. Whirlpool. It has a set of senior executives who serve as innovation mentors who are tasked with evaluating business ideas. PepsiCo. It works on 10-year growth plans for individuals who the company believes have the potential to climb high on the corporate ladder. SAP Labs. SAP stands for Systems, Applications and Products in Data Processing. It was founded in Germany in 1972. SAP Lab has a special social sabbatical program which is a unique way to leadership development. Recently, according to a survey, it was identified that 84% of Generation Y care about making a positive difference in the world than workplace recognition. This indicates that it's time to fundamentally rethink the established approach to talent strategies. Organizations are dedicating considerable resources to promote employees to undertake paid social sabbaticals. Looking at this, SAP started Social Sabbatical Program which sends high-performing employees into emerging economies such as South Africa, India, Brazil and China. During these assignments, employees support entrepreneurs, NGOs and government agencies with the aim of positively impacting the regions economically and socially. They also gain a better understanding of how to effectively operate in these geographical areas. Employees leave the daily routine of their jobs to spend a month with the host client. In India, 21 employees from SAP Labs deployed themselves with non-profits across northeastern states. Some employees imparted corporate skills that helped villages create a comprehensive education program. It was able to make the villages put their natural resources to optimum use from fishery and animal husbandry and sustain traditional weaving. Others provided need-based skills like project, legal and people management. SAP Lab offers sabbaticals for 3 months to 2 years to employees who have been continuously employed at SAP. At Infosys, employees volunteer with charitable, governmental or para-government organizations in public interest areas. Employees are eligible for a fellowship from the company based on their role and they get time off from their normal work schedule for a minimum of 6 months and a maximum of 1 year. This community empathy policy allows employees to be involved in community development projects while receiving monetary support. They can come back to normal work schedules after completing projects of up to 1 year. These community-based initiatives equip employees with unique leadership development opportunities and encourages experiential learning. It infuses future executives with the type of creativity they need to solve the problems in an entrepreneurial setting. Hope you enjoyed the examples from the corporate scenario wherein the leadership development programs of different corporate houses were discussed. Involvement in community projects is an outbound leadership development program as far as these corporate houses are concerned. Many MNCs and local corporate houses have started involving themselves in community-based programs and thereby allow their future leaders to learn at the grassroots level about their customers. These initiatives once again prove that learning does not happen in closed air-conditioned